sinister laugh, and when I looked down on my arm, I seen three fresh scratches, and it was this real demonic energy on my left hand side, and it was invisible. You ever seen gasoline or like the little gasoline waves in the street, or these like different waves from the sun, and it's invisible, but you can see it. That's how it was, and it's like, what the world? And all of a sudden, I started crying, and my head started going down on the table, and I was like, ah. It was like a cry, and I'm like, why in the world I'm crying, and why in the world is my head going down? But at the same time, none of these things I could control. Just like I said, I just witnessed a damn invisible creature right there. Now that I'm in the truth, it was Satan. And I'm gonna describe more on how that was Satan because of the acts that he did, along with the sinister laugh that I heard. But as I was laying my head down and I was crying, but no tears came out. I'm talking about I was crying from the depths of my soul. And then all of a sudden, I was like, ah. As soon as my head touched the table, simultaneously this happened. I said, I am the Most High. Boom. And my hand hit the table with a fist. And it wasn't me. It came over me like it was like a deliverance type of act, yo. And I didn't make myself say I am the Most High. I literally didn't, yo. Um I was literally in that state. Like I just said, I just witnessed this being right here on my left hand side, and all of a sudden I witnessed me in the act of crying and my head going down on the table. Then in the instant, at the same time, while I was in that trouble, it was this great spirit over me, yo, and it made me do this. Raise. I was at the table, and it was like a formation, yo. I put my right hand up to the ceiling, like I am the Most High. Boom, and I hit the table like that. I didn't feel it was nothing like sloppy. Everything was precise on how I did it, and obviously, with her on the side, she was like in the trance, and it was like she was used to things like that, but it wasn't like I think that was extraordinary outside of what she usually see because, like I said, this demonic spirit. Now that I'm in the truth, I know now that this demonic spirit, she always sum it up. These people be dealing with Satan on the left hand side, and I remember that energy, that spirit that was over me. It was not me, yo. I'm talking about. It literally felt like I was escaped from all of that stuff that I was in. And then I did it a second time. Matter of fact, before I did it a second time, it was a pause right there, and on my left side, it was like this spirit that took over me that made me say I am the Most High. It looked down at the creature that was on my left hand side, and instead of that sinister spirit that it had against me, it was trembling. I'm talking about it was like a baby, yo. A baby can't defend itself. It was like you can't get mad at no baby, yo. I'm talking about it was trembling that bad. It was some type of dialogue that it was having. Like it was, I know it was a spirit over me. You know how people get the holiday spirit. People be giving and stuff. People are forced to do things that they usually wouldn't do. Like literally, I was in the spirit of that spirit that said I'm the Most High, but it wasn't me. It wasn't me speaking, and the dialogue that they had, it was like I understood it, but I didn't know it. You know how Paul said he went to the third heaven after he got stoned and he witnessed things that was unlawful to speak. That was like unlawful for me to describe on what happened, and it was literally like the energy that made me say I'm the Most High, which energy, one of the synonyms for energy is spirit. It made me say, Lucifer, and then it was like to where I could understand it to my level. And when I was in the world, I thought Lucifer was Satan. So the dialogue that they was having, it was out of this world. It was complex, but it was direct. And it was like this spirit that was trembling on my left hand side was literally like bowing down, yo. And it wasn't like no fight, no carnality stuff. It was literally like that order. And I'm gonna read this in James chapter 2, verse 19. That had to be the spirit of the Lord over me, yo. And I remember getting in formation. I had my flesh just went into this formation at the table. Like it's like I sat with some type of posture at the table that I couldn't understand. I never sat like that, but it was so perfect how I was sitting. I had my left hand on my side, like it was in formation. You know how we do at camp? We salute out and we stand in formation. Like that's literally how I was sitting at the table. And I had my fist on the table, my left hand on my side. And like I said, the spirit on my left hand side was trembling. And then it was like the spirit that made me say I'm the Most High was just going in. Like it was man, it was out of this world, yo. It was out of this world. And then after the spirit that made me say I'm the Most High got finished to saying whatever how they was dialogue. I'm just a vessel, yo, and I'm in the midst of that. All of a sudden, I did it again. Raised my right hand with a fist to the air again, and I said, "I am the Most High." And then I'm at the end of the table, and there's another end of the table, but it's right in front of a revolving door that she was going in and out before we sat down and dialogue. It's a post, it's a kitchen door, and the post above it, it was a wall, and then all of a sudden it was like a portal that opened, and I seen like the second heaven. The second heaven is out of space, but it's how I seen it, and it literally magnified a man walking on the planet. Like it was way out. It was a man. It was a dark skinned man walking on the planet. And if you ever seen the Marvel movie, what's that guy name? Brothers be depicting him, as they may have that man that's seen as Yahweh shot. They may put him up as an image, in the videos or whatnot. I forgot his name. It's the dude that played in The Wire. But the costume that he was wearing in the Marvel movie, I'm gonna see if I can pull that up. Marvel, I think it was Armageddon. Yes, Armageddon, and it's exactly how he looked. He had the gold plated chest plate, and I think it's a scripture in that goes into that account on the angels having a gold chest plate. But he had a gold chest plate, and it was like he had a crown on. and you could see gold here and there, but it was like with the naked eye though. And like I said, as soon as I raised my hand up the second time, I said, "I'm the Most High." That simultaneously happened, and I seen him walking on the planet. It was like it looked like a planet, and the light wasn't shown on it yet. And then he as he was walking, he was busy doing his thing. He stopped and looked down at me, and really was looking at the spirit that was over me. And it was like they had a communication, and then all of a sudden, the hole just got small and it went away, it zapped out. It was like the man that was walking on the planet, he was in awe of what was going on with us, but he wasn't like dismayed at it. Like, but he was in awe of it. And it was things unlawful for me to speak. And then all of a sudden I put my hand down again. And then it was like the spirit that made me say on the Most High was boasting itself against that spirit that was on my left hand side, that was trembling. This is James chapter 2, verse 19. And it reads, and it's just a testimony, it's just a story, but certain scriptures does match up, or it can be edifying, through filtering it. And it says, "Thou believest that there is one God, thou doest well. The devils also believe and tremble." They literally, that demon was trembling, yo. That demon was trembling, yo. I remember it because if you place it how I told it, it's literally lines up with that being the devil, and it was trembling, yo, because the spirit that was over me was mighty. It was way out of this world, and I don't know how it could just make it adaptable for me to just exist within the same presence of it. Like, it was way out, yo. And that, it's just the revealing of the Lord. Like, the Lord deals in reality as well as dreams and visions. I remember the brother, the Elder Karatazar from Las Vegas, just came out with a video the Elder Apostle Gabar had posted about him having that vision. Like I said, this ain't no preeminence and seeking and whatnot. This is literally the raw testimony. I told to a few brothers, um, from really camps, numerous accounts, outside of the camp where I'm at, GMS Atlanta. Um, and it's the same story. It never changed. It literally happened in reality, man. In 2010. So fast forward, I lift my hand up the third time and say, "I am the Most High." And then all of a sudden, that virtue of that spirit that was over me, I felt it. I felt it leave. But it was like it was standing on my right side, and it was like it had me thinking, like, what the world is this? The Almighty? I said, nah, this can't be God too big for this. It's something but I didn't know the scriptures. I was like, something that the Lord sent, which was an angel. It had to be a Lord sending his angel, or, his miraculous powers. He's, like I said, he's doing through an angel that was upon me, that made me say those words, that made me, you know, sit there and witness the dialogue between those two spirits. Like, man, this happened in real life. And then, of course, Adama, she started talking, but she was in a trance though. She was literally in a trance, just like Balaam was. And after that, I left. I think upon the next day, I wanted to take everything back what she gave me. She gave me a couple of DVDs and whatnot, and I wanted to go back and get a refund for that. But the spirit just had it to where I didn't. I remember the next day, I got on the train, And when I got on the train, I remember like going back to the Angels. I remember me on the train heading southbound. That's where College Park is at. And no, cause it's like it, not to fast forward, but later on that night, right after I left her house, like I said, that virtue left me, and it seemed like I was, you know, a regular person again. But I knew, like, I was like, no, that wasn't regular. I'm talking about, yo, I didn't do nothing that day, yo. I didn't drink that day. Usually, I'm not a heavy drinker anyway. I'm not really a drinker anyway. But I remember like just thinking. I think I intermittent fasted that day without me even acknowledging, something to eat in my mind. I would just head forward to getting stuff done. Upon not me knowing that was going to happen, that happened. And right after I left, I went to the train station. It was like I was seeing. It was different, man. It was different, man. It was different. Um, so I went back to my crib the next day. Hop on the train, went to try to see her. And as I'm on the train, I'm heading to um, okay, the first station is Garnett. That's where the Greyhound bus at. Um, my brothers are familiar with that spot, even apostles and elders that's from out of town. Um, I went there first, and I remember me witnessing me seeing a man on the train. It was just like it was like direct. It was like it wasn't like abnormal. Like he stood out outside of all the people. All the people on the train was like robots, man, like puppets. It's just how my vision was. I wasn't trying to shame nobody with knowledge because I didn't have none. It's just how I seen stuff with my eyes, and I never thought or seen things like that before. So he just stood out, and I remember the next train station I had went to, and it started to bother me what I had went through because I'm like, man, dang, the higher being is closer than what we think, and why we, damn, why I'm in this reality? Why is things like this? Will things open up even more, like in the future, more than what I just went through? All this stuff was going in my head, and I'm like literally like thinking I can talk to everybody about it. I'm up here like like looking at people like, dang, y'all don't know that the Lord is real. Like it was so real. It was like it's everything that we read about is literally true, y'all. So the next train station, I'm on the train. I'm by myself, and I'm kind of angry because I'm like, man, dang, what the world's going on? And then all of a sudden, the man that I seen that was now that I seen it was an angel. He was sitting next to this foreigner, and how he was sitting next to him, he had his okay, it's a chair right here, and the East Indian dude is like a robot, yo. I'm talking about like he's not animated at all, just as well as everybody else that's on the train. Um, the angel was on like this, yo, just looking at me, and I remember I was like at first before I seen that happen, because it was like he had to stand out even more to prove that uh he know what I was thinking. Cause I was like, man, don't nobody see this? And it was like I looked back again, and he was like this, and I was like, and I looked at the dude, I was like, are you just gonna let him lean on you like that? And but the dude was in like he was literally like a robot, yo. This foreigner and everybody else they usually people like hey scoffing, but that man that I saw was as an angel. He stood out from that, he was nowhere near in that carnal type of fleshly aura. Like it was like something that he had to prove that he was way out. Like he was like he manipulated the reality, so to speak. And he got up and he went out of the train. I think it was Oakland City train station. And I remember be getting off with him because I it was something eagerly that it was like he got off the train and it was like yeah man, I know what you're thinking, I know what you just seen. And all of a sudden I got off the train and I earnestly asked him, I said hey man, is it true that you can't be forgiven by the Lord if you curse the Holy Spirit? Because I remember before I came to this truth, I came across this Jehovah Witness lady. And that was months prior to what happened just then that night that I just explained about, you know, me dealing with the Most High Spirit and Satan on my left hand side, being at a dumb house. I remember cursing out this Jehovah Witness lady that was, you know, passing out tracts and telling people about the Lord and whatnot. At first, you know, I would meet up with her and I would talk and, show her that I'm knowledgeable about the Lord, that I'm interested in the Lord. And one day I was just so pissed because everything was just going horribly wrong for me. Everything was just troublesome. I remember I lost my job and I was working at a job, but it was like a temp job and it was just hell, man. And I remember coming across her. She was talking to somebody. And she said, "Hey, how's it going?" And she just kept talking to him. And I was like, "Hey, man, don't even listen to her, bro. You know, F the Holy Spirit, man. You know, she don't know what the fuck she talking about." And right, it was like she seen through all of that, and all of a sudden she asked me, "Do I want to ride home?" And and I was looking at the car, I was like, "What?" And then I was like, "Well, she being sarcastic." I was like, "Yeah, 'cause it's better than catching the bus." So we get to her car. She was driving a Mercedes, and she was talking to me like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah. Though you go through hard times, don't the Lord don't give up on you. Don't give up on the Lord." And I was telling her like, I'm struggling with this and this. And then she dropped me off and she said, "Remember what we talked about? Pray." And I'm not laughing because it ain't funny, but looking back at it, I'm like, man, the Lord is real. So I remember going up to my apartment and I felt so bad of doing that, of saying those words. So, I was kind of down that day and I think I repented, but I didn't repent like, Yahweh Shem Shai. I kind of I repented to the Lord in a way that I thought that, he would forgive me. But fast forward back to the train where I'm talking to the angel. And I asked him, that's the reason why I asked him, because of that day. And I felt that, that I needed to get that off my chest because the things that was going on and what I saw and was continuing to see. And I wanted to say, it was on the tip of my tongue, and I was so ready to say, I wanted to say, "Hey man, you're an angel," but I didn't. I didn't blow this cover. So that's the second angel that I saw. Now me getting on another train that he went on, it was a crowded train. It was heading back up the other way. It was heading back up north because I decided, I'm gonna just keep following him until he give me the answers that I wanted concerning what happened to me, dealing with the Lord. Me seeing angels, and all of a sudden he disappeared into the crowd. And I seen other people like him because they all had on the same shirts, but I knew they was like different from everybody. You know what I mean? They just seemed different, man. It was just a few of them, but they all was like in the same type of spirit. And all of a sudden I stood between the doors and I was like, I had my head down. I was thinking. Now, mind you, I got this 5% book in my pocket. You know, they just literally alliterating or just pointing out me dealing with the angels now. And then I'm gonna hop into some scriptures. But I remember me having my arms on the luggage session pose, and and something in my head just said Adam. Like I knew somebody that was around me. And then I was like, why did I say Adam like I know that person? And then I looked, I said Adam. And then the first person I seen in front of me, he had braids, and it was a Jake, train crowded and whatnot. And then it was like he gave me like a signal, like, nah, it ain't me, that's him sitting down. And then I looked, it it narrowly fastened on that person that I looked upon, that I was wondering like, who is Adam? Is you Adam? But I didn't say it like that. As soon as I looked, and I was like, Adam? And then I said it again. But it was like I knew him, knew him. So the next train station we get off. No, it's like we don't get off. People start getting off, and then the seat was available for me. He sat one seat behind the empty seat that I was in front of. So now I'm like, I'm really losing it. Who is Adam? And all of a sudden, I sat down in the chair and I was like, you know what? This will all go away. I'm gonna just read a little something. So I pulled out the Supreme Understanding book. He's part of the 5%ers. He talks about gods and the earth. So I wanted to go back to that page, which really they mentioned in that book about the Supreme Understanding. So I remember me just wanting to go back and read that over and over again, because I was like, man, I just witnessed this, yo. I just witnessed this. Psalms chapter 82, verse 6. That's what I wanted to read within that book. Because in that book, it talks about us being gods and earth. It aims at Jake. It don't aim at no other people. So that's what I was just diving back into. And all of a sudden, that it was a it was it was like a death feeling that came over me. As soon as I opened up the book and was about to read, everything around me was like red, and then it got real heated. I got real heated, like I was about to die or something, like it was going to be like a combustion. You know how your spirit, that's like how your body can catch on fire. Like that's how I kind of felt, and all of a sudden I closed the book, and then because I couldn't read it, so I closed the book, and then all of a sudden it started to stop. Everything started to go back to normal. The redness that I seen everywhere was going away. And then I get to Five Points train station, and then I'm sitting up here like, what the world is going on? And then all of a sudden I look to my right. It was a man that was looking at me like this, and he was like this. Like soon as I seen him, he did like this. And then I was like, what the world? And then it was a mother and a child that came on the train. Hoping I ain't losing nobody, but this was exactly what happened. A mother and a child came on the train, and the mother looked like she was like a robot, like she was in a deep trance, bro. But she had no type of care for the child that she was on the train with, holding hands, and the child looked like a monster, yo. I'm talking about like a old man, but it was a child though. I knew in this realm it was a child, but the way that I seen it, it was with a whole nother vision. And I'm like looking around and see if I'm gonna see more faces like this, but the Lord had mercy on me to just only see that. So they went their way, and then all of a sudden I looked. I was like, I looked back at him, and he was like, I was like, what the word? And he dressed in plain clothes, and all the angels was Jake, man. They was Jake, literally. I just read Hebrews chapter 13, verse 2 about entertaining angels unawares. Bro, they look just like us, man. And you can feel that vibration. How you can feel when somebody that you know, that's how it was, yo. But I didn't know I knew them. I didn't know that I could dialogue with them or they would ever show me things. So fast forward and we get to like almost to Art Center train station. And I remember me pulling out that book again. All of a sudden, everything around me started getting red. And the heat came upon me again. And it got worse and worse and worse. And then I looked at the book, I threw it in the other seat, and then all of a sudden, like that pressure started coming down, but it was still on me. Like, don't never go near the book. Now that I realize, don't never, reopen that book. Then all of a sudden, because the scripture says, none should want a mate and drink out of their own sinisters. Proverbs chapter 5, verse 15. It was like a sign from the Lord. Now that I seen it, it was like a sign of the Lord. Like, don't deal with that. And so I sat in the seat, the same seat where I narrowly looked upon this man that in my head, I I thought I was like, it just randomly appeared in my head, like I said, when I got on the train after speaking with that, now that I knew it was Angel, I said Adam. In my mind, I was like Adam, and it was like I knew that it was Adam. So I sat right next to the man. He was dressed rugged too, just like the angel that I seen. Like I said in the beginning of the morning when I went out, and the angel went through the couples. It was, so I had I had literally um I had literally sat next to him, and I'm thinking like as soon as I sit next to him, stuff would go away. I didn't think he was an angel or nothing, but it was something that he had to deal with in the midst of what I was going through. But then to myself, I'm still thinking like, nah, I'm tripping. But I wasn't tripping, yo. And I asked him, I said, hey, can you call 911 for me? Can you please call 911 for me? And I asked him so desperately, but it wasn't like loud and rude. It was only hearing him and me can hear. Cause I was like, man, I'm dying, I'm dying. And he was like, he said, okay, let's get off at this train station. So we got off the train station. We got off at the train station art center. It's up there by the camp spot that we teach at now. And I remember me getting off the train. Everything was still kind of in that red phase. And I remember me just looking around, and it was like everybody was controlled outside of their control. That's the vision that I kept seeing, but I couldn't understand it. And people just going about their life, and all of a sudden I seen him go, and I seen him on the phone, and then he hung up the phone and he said, yeah, somebody be down here in a minute. And then as he was walking, it just got worse and worse and worse, worse than the train. And then my hands got like this. I was like, I was screaming, like trying to yell, like I need help. I was like, ah. My hands started folding like this. And I remember him looking back, but he just kept walking. And then all of a sudden, it was like the movie Ghost with Patrick Swayze. When somebody would die, you either got angels coming for you, or you got them demons coming from underground and it's gonna drag you down. That's the type of mindset that I kind of had, even in the midst of all what I just witnessed. And then all of a sudden, and it was like, it's proven too that it's no such thing as hell. Because I literally thought I was going somewhere like that. And then all of a sudden, it was nothing. But it was still that pressure of it. And I'm looking around like, don't nobody see this, don't nobody see this. I'm like, help, help. But then it's like nobody can hear me, and I'm like, oh, oh. And then all of a sudden, the same man that was on the train with me that in my head, it just made me say Adam and maybe narrowly look upon him. He kind of turned around, and this time he turned around as if he knew me, and it was like a glow. It was like a blue glow over his head, over his body, and I looked and glanced, and I was like, I said, it was like everything dropped. Everything dropped. All the pressure, all everything that seemed like I was just gonna die from, or like the combustion, or the fire just coming out of your flesh, burning you up, or all the stuff that I just explained. It just left. It left, and I said, and mind you, it was a so-called black man. I said, Jesus, Jesus. I said it like 3 times, and I had went up. It was man. It was way out, yo. I had went up to him and I had hugged him, and it was like he already knew, but he didn't want to blow his cover. It was like he had to be an angel of the Lord, yo. And I said, Jesus, Jesus. I'm talking about all the hell went away, yo. And then all of a sudden, I was like talking to him, but I wasn't talking to him. I was like, all this hell, you see all this hell that was, you seen all this, you seen, I can't believe it's you, I can't believe it's you. And then all of a sudden, she's like, all right, sit down, sit down a little bit. And he sat on my right hand side, and this woman came up and she just sat on my left hand. And then it was like, me and him was talking like, man, I don't know. He was like, all right, all right. And then he was like, all of a sudden we knew what to do. We just looked forward, and I had I think I had my left hand on my right hand up. I think both of them went up. I put my left hand up like I was a pledge of allegiance or something. Then all of a sudden that stopped, and then he got up, and then it was like we were still talking, but we wasn't talking. And it was like he said in something. He said, it was like he told me that he was about to leave the earth. And then I was looking around like, how the world are you gonna leave the earth? Like you just about to go out the door like the Truman Show or something. That's what I was thinking, because I remember that same year of '09, I started watching the Jim Carrey show with forgot the other actor on there, but it was called the Truman Show. Um, and Jim Carrey walked out of a door like he's about to walk out of that whole stage of off the world stage, and that's how me and him was like dialogue, and I was like, how you gonna do that? Like, how you know the way out of this earth and still live? All this stuff was going on in my head, and then sure enough, the ambulance came and they picked me up, but it wasn't like no rude type of scene. It was literally like everything was still going. Nobody looking at me strange. It was like literally that moment, and I got a couple of scriptures to prove that the Lord does be around us um, all the time, man. I'm gonna get this in Daniel chapter 3, verse 1. But before I do that, I'm gonna go to Tobit, the book of Tobit, chapter 12. Let's see this. The book of Tobit, chapter 12. All of those things happen, yo. All of those things happen, man. Like it literally happened in my life for real. Um, I told my family about it. I told people that I knew about it. Um, and it's some more things that happen too. But for edification purpose, I'm gonna just shorten it to that point. Um, but yeah, the Lord really does exist, man. Like I tried to do a video on this for like years, but it was never. I think a couple of times I put it up, it got taken down. The other times was no sound or it didn't record. So I was like, maybe the Lord don't want me declare it. But then, I was like, nah, man, that gotta be Satan, bro. Like that actually happened in my life. That literally happened in my life. I'm not exaggerating. I'm not making up nothing for clout. It's not preeminence and seeking. Um, those things actually happened in my life, yo. And I'm glad I'm here to share it. Now, I'm going to read this testimony, the book of Tobit. Um, this is Tobit chapter 12, verse 11. Surely I will keep close nothing from you, for I said it was good to keep close. Slack it. I'm going to read over again. Tobit chapter 12, verse 11. Surely I will keep close nothing from you, for I said it was good to keep close the secret of a king, but that it was honorable to reveal the works of Yahweh. So it's honorable for me to reveal the works of the Lord, of the Creator, of the Heavenly Father. It's an honorable thing, man, for all of us, whether it's through visions or whether it's in reality. The brother Zakaria from our camp, he got stories on meeting angels and many other brothers. But that story is literally true. And like I said, it's not seeking preeminence. This is exactly how the Lord just got it set up. And I still don't think I'm for sure that of the elect. It just happened to me that way. And the Lord led me into this truth. Because I had no point or purpose to be in this truth. I mean, I'm saying words like how I thought in the world, to really suffice the point, because literally I didn't have no visions on being the truth. I had visions on me being a music producer because I love music, I love art. So, that's literally what I was thinking upon doing. But that never happened, yo. A man's ways is of the Lord for real. This is the book of Tobit, chapter 12, verse 12. Now therefore, when thou didst pray, and Sarah thy daughter-in-law, I did bring the remembrance of your prayers before the Holy One. And when thou didst bury the dead, I was with thee likewise. See, so these angels are always amongst us unawares, yo. And that's literally what I had went through before the Lord led me into the truth. Even after that, what I went through, I thought I'd just be regular again, but life just wasn't regular any time like after that. I really fell into hardships. Um, it was really hardship, bro, and I couldn't explain it. I was like, why is all this stuff happening to me? I'm on the up and up. I'm 20 years old. I got my first pad. Um, nobody stand with me. I got a gig. I'm going to school, technical college for medical assistant. I'm doing my thing, and all of a sudden, life turned upside down, yo. But it wasn't for my doing. But the Lord knew what He was doing. It says, and when thou didst not delay to rise up and leave thy dinner to go and cover the dead, thy good deed was not hid from me, but I was with thee. And now Yahweh hath sent me to heal thee and Sarah thy daughter-in-law. And that's another miracle act that the Lord did. He healed Tobit from the blindness that he received while burying Jake that was getting killed in the Assyrian Empire time. Wrongfully. They were just, at times attacking our people, man, causing harm to them. You seen why the Northern Kingdom moved away from Samaria, the time when Assyria ruled in that part too, is because of the atrocities of the Assyrian Empire. So upon Tobit doing a good deed, he got exhausted one day, and rested upon the wall, and I think he lifted up his head, and dung fell into his eye. It made him blind. But the Lord only left him blind for, I think a few weeks. Then the Lord sent an angel to him to heal him. This is what this is going into. And it says, verse 15, I am Raphael, one of the seven holy angels, which present the prayers of the saints, and which go in and out before the glory of the Holy One. Then they were both troubled and fell upon their faces, for they feared. But he said unto them, Fear not, for it shall go well with you. Praise Yahweh therefore. So, in the same sense, all of our forefathers did those things when the Lord presence was among them. Like literally the Lord did works that was, stranger than fishing upon the earth amongst his own people. Even the heathens, like I just mentioned, Balaam and the donkey, that actually happened, yo. But for those that don't believe, it's not giving them to believe, the works, the acts of the Lord. I have to declare the works of the Lord. It don't matter if I'm of the elect or not. But, that actually happened to me, and I'm glad to testify of it. Now, this is the book of Daniel, chapter 3, going to the furnace. It's another act that the Lord did. And they didn't seek no preeminence from the Lord. They praised the Lord. And that's the same thing with brothers of vision or the brothers that really have testimonies of the Lord dealing with them. This is Daniel chapter 3, verse 8. Wherefore at that time certain Chaldeans came near and accused the Jews. They spake and said to the king Nebuchadnezzar, O king, live forever. Thou, O king, hast made a decree that every man that shall hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and dulcimer, and all kinds of music shall fall down and worship the golden image. And whoso falleth not down and worship, that he should be cast into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. There are certain Jews whom thou hast set over the affairs of the province of Babylon, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. These men, O king, have not regarded thee. They serve not thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. Then Nebuchadnezzar, in his rage and fury, commanded to bring Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Then they brought these men before the king. Nebuchadnezzar spake and said unto them, Is it true, O Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego? Do not ye serve my gods, nor worship the golden image which I have set up? Now if ye be ready, that at what time ye hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and dulcimer, and all kinds of music, ye fall down and worship the image which I have made. Well, but if ye worship not, ye shall be cast the same hour into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. And who is that God that should deliver you out of my hands? Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said to King Nebuchadnezzar, we are not careful to answer thee in this matter. See, that's how wisdom is going to make us. Wisdom is going to make us careless in the eyes of our enemies in the coming days, because we got the Spirit of the Lord within us. That's why they were so mighty, because they ain't really, and going back to is like how dare they try them, because they never did wrong. They never wronged King Nebuchadnezzar. They always handled their business. Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, which were renamed those Babylonian names, Meshach, Abednego, Shadrach. They never did nothing wrong. Plus, they had the Lord with them. Verse 17, if it be so, our God, whom we serve, is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of thy hand, O king. But if not, be it known unto thee, O king, that we will not serve thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. Then was Nebuchadnezzar full of fury, and the form of his visage was changed against Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Therefore he spake and commanded that they should heat the furnace 17 times more than it was wont to be heated. He commanded the most mighty men that were in his army to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and to cast them into the burning fiery furnace. Then these men were bound in their coats, their hosen, and their hats, and their other garments, and were cast into the midst of the burning of the fiery furnace. Therefore, because the king's commandments was urgent, the furnace exceeding hot, the flame of the fire slew those men that took up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And these three men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, fell down bound into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Then Nebuchadnezzar the king was astounded, and rose up in haste, and spake and said unto his counselors, did not we cast three men bound into the midst of the fire? They answered and said unto the king, true, O king. He answered and said, it's like he answered and said, lo, I see four men loose, walking in the midst of the fire, and they have no hurt. And the form of the fourth is like the son of Yahweh. So even King Nebuchadnezzar was in the trance because the Lord, he seen the Lord. He seen the Lord had opened up his third eye to see him, and the brothers not get burnt up. So the Lord's miracles is real, like Daniel chapter 6 verse 22 concerning Daniel in the lion's den. You had the angel grab Habakkuk, the prophet Habakkuk, by his braids over there to the den where Daniel was in, and give him food that he was cooking for his guests that was supposed to be coming over that night. So yeah, the Lord is weighed out, man. The invisible power is way out, yo. That's just testimony that I wanted to give. Like, it's an honorable thing for brothers to do that, to give the testimonies, to edify the hopefully elect. The Lord is definitely here, man. He's always around us. This is yeah, that's basically it on that. This is John chapter 14, verse 12. Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that believeth on me, the works that I do shall he do also, and greater works than these shall he do, because I go unto my Father. So the Lord is doing miraculously works for us because he's on the right hand side of the Heavenly Father. So the Lord is looking out for us on a whole another level, and protecting us too. Even those that are of the elect that's not woken up yet. Like I mentioned, the testimony. I didn't, I didn't know, that, you know, it was that real. Like, outside of you dying and going to the Lord, like it actually was shown to me in this realm. Like I just mentioned, testimony of Raphael, the archangel Raphael, one of the seven archangels of the Lord that see the Lord face to face. They see him face to face, like you would see your kinfolk or anybody in the world. That's how close Archangel Raphael is to the Most High, the Heavenly Father. So him giving that, testimony, and Tobit witnessing and that's another testimony that's given, then that's true. And it was in this realm of reality. The Assyrian Empire was like thousands of years ago. So the angel was on the earth with Tobit and Tobias and around Sarah and other people, dwelling amongst them, eating amongst them. Like you said, it was a vision that you see me eating and drinking, but it was just a vision. It really wasn't me eating and drinking, because the angels don't have to eat nor drink. Now it says right here, verse 19, all these days I did appear unto you, but I did not, but I did neither eat nor drink, but you did see a vision. Because remember, they did eat amongst each other. The fish, they cooked the fish to rid some of the demons out. They was on a journey together. So, things that he did that we naturally know people to do, he did, but he actually didn't do it. Like he just mentioned. Like I just mentioned, the angels that I saw on the train, and that spirit that was on me at Adama house to make me say on the most high, and me witnessing this demonic spirit on my left hand side, which now I know it was Satan. All of that is, you know, that's the workings of the Lord, man. Yeah. That's all I wanted to say. Um, Mind you, again, this is not me seeking my own glory. Like you read through the scriptures, man. Ezra was dealing with the archangel Uriel. He wasn't on no preeminence trip. It just the testimony he gave. He had the scribe to write it down in the book. Like our forefathers even expressed it and stressed it. They couldn't stress it enough for what they was witnessing from the Lord. They said, "Oh, if thou will write this in the book." Why? Because that actually happened to what the visions that they saw, the words that they was getting from the Heavenly Father, the different experience. Jonah, for instance, was in the fish for 3 days. He prayed to the Lord, and the fish spat him up, and he didn't die that fish. And also, he was one on one with the Lord, with the Most High, Jonah, because he was a prophet of the Lord. He had Moses and our people going through the Red Sea. That the Lord showed Himself in this realm of reality all the time. The Lord does cameos, like brothers like to mention, like Stan Lee and Marvel. He do those cameos, but he's the director, the creator of it. That's how the Lord is. And the Lord is way out, man. The Lord is way out. So yeah, that's all I got. Hopefully this wasn't long. Today I'm gonna say shalom to the elect.